Hello, everyone. We are now live on Facebook. I just wanted to welcome everybody to the City Commission Candidates Forum. And as far as everyone who is a part of this Candidates Forum, if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly, just so we can make sure audio is working correctly. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And during this time, I know that everyone's mics are on mute. And if they're not, if you can go ahead and put them on mute right now. Once you are going to be answering your questions, you can unmute it just so we don't have any feedback during that. And so just a thank you to who this event is hosted by and everyone who was able to help with it. It is hosted by the Paducah McCracken County NAACP, West Kentucky Community and Technical College, TTTE Media Group, Masterful Minds podcast, and it'll be moderated by me, Shamaria Morrison. I am an anchor and a reporter at WPSD Local 6. And the candidates, you receive the questions beforehand, so you know questions will be answered. We'll also be taking questions live from Facebook as well. So people who are tuning in or just coming in, make sure that if you have specific questions for candidates, you can put them below in the comments, and we will be having someone moderating those questions as well. And what I will do is I will, based on how I can see your name right now, that's who I'll have starting their opening statement. So it won't be in any specific order in what it looks like for me right now, unless, we'll be having greetings for each of the candidates. They'll be doing their opening statements. And West Kentucky, I'm hearing that West Kentucky Community College will also be having an opening statement, and Paducah McCracken County NAACP will also do a welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and ask technical support, who's right behind me. Would you like them to start before the candidates do their opening statement? So what we'll do is we'll have West Kentucky Community College making their opening statement first, since he's online, Dr. Anton, and then we will have Corbin Snarden, who's going to be representing Paducah McCracken County NAACP, give his opening statement, and he is actually here. So Dr. Anton, if you wanted to start.
Thank you, Shamaria, and good evening to all of you. And we are definitely excited to, be.
Boston.
Dr. Anton, I think you might be muted. And we're all dealing with COVID-19 right now, so we all know this probably won't be the smoothest thing at the moment, but we'll get it as we do. Is he able to be heard now? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Dr. Anton, we're gonna come right back to you. Looks like you're unmuted now. We're gonna go to Corbin first, and we'll see what we can figure out on your end of things, okay?
All right.
Hello, everyone, and hello to all candidates. We want to bring you greetings from the Paducah McCracken County NAACP chapter. We're so grateful that you have tuned on to us to hear from each and every candidate for City Commission. We also just want to take this opportunity to thank all of our sponsors and everybody that assisted with this, including TTT Media Group and Mindful Podcast. It's a mouthful, but we are so grateful for them, as well as WKCTC. So we look forward to some engaging conversation tonight and discussion as we go into our candidate forum. Dr. Reece, I believe you're unmuted now, and it is now your floor.
Well, thank you so much for at least pretending that you were all listening to me this afternoon. Story of my career. No, on behalf of West Kentucky Community Technical College, we are certainly happy to be part of this important conversation. Paducah McCracken County and this entire region. Certainly what happens here in Paducah emanates to the conversation, and certainly as a higher ed institution, we believe that the college always stands ready.
Okay. Oh. I think we're going to try to bring Dr. Reece back in at some point so he can actually give that opening statement. But for now, we're going to go ahead and go to the candidates who are here. And we are going to start just by random, like I said, who I can see on here. I actually can see David. David Guess, you seem to be who I can see right now. So if you don't mind, if we can start with you for the opening statement. Are we ready for him? Okay, you can go ahead. You have 2 minutes, and we are running on. You have 1 minute actually. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a hold on. You'll have 2 minutes to have your opening statement, and we will have a time clock. And I will tell you when to start. But I see that your mic is muted, so you're going to want to unmute your mic, Mr. Guess. Mr. Guess, if you can hear me, we'll ask you to unmute your mic. I see that it's still muted. Mr. Guess, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like your mic has been unmuted. So if you don't mind, we'll come right back to you. I'm going to ask Ms. Winchester if she can unmute her mic and give her 2-minute opening statement, if that's okay.
Hey, can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. First of all, I do want to thank the host of this meeting. I also want to thank the women of Beta Omega Omega for these challenging but thoughtful questions that you sent to us. I am very excited to have the opportunity to run for Paducah City Commission and to serve this community. My background, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. It includes 20 years of community and economic revitalization experience in both Missouri and Kentucky. I'm a small business owner and a historic preservation specialist. I currently am a relationship manager for Paducah Bank, and I grew up in Southeast Missouri and attended Southeast Missouri State, where I have a graduate degree in historic preservation and an MBA. My husband and I, we relocated here in Paducah about 11 years ago when he got transferred with the river industry. And we have 3 wonderful sons, and I have an adorable grandson. I became the Paducah Main Street Director in 2014. And in just a very short time, in that time period, I worked to build up our downtown, helping to bring in over 20 new businesses. And I was also a part of the rehabilitation of 16 of our historic buildings and 4 of our neighborhoods here in Paducah. One thing about me that I want everybody to know, and those who know me already know this, that I am a relationship builder. The people that I have worked with, they consider me someone who is able to bring people together. And this community welcomed us and myself with open arms. And I love Paducah. I love its people. And this is our home. And I really, truly look forward to being able to build relationships with many more people and many people in this forum here tonight. And I hope next time we get to do this in person and have some longer conversations. Thank you.
Shamaria, I don't think we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. So, Mr. Shy, you're going to be up next. You will have 2 minutes at the time that you're talking. If everyone else's mic can be off, and whenever you start talking, I will have that 2-minute timer start.
All right, thank you. Greetings, Paducah. My name is Robert Shaw. Again, I'm running for Paducah City Commission. The reason why I'm running is because it is now time for a change, time for the people to be heard and represented in the city of Paducah. My candidacy is all about you. Now, what is you? You, the Y stands for your interest, right? It's not about me, but it's about you. The O is for open dialogue and communication. So many times, a lot of decisions are made in the back room, but we want to make sure those decisions, especially the most important ones that affect our city, are made in the forefront and ahead of time. And then certainly as commissioner, I will dialogue with all people to make sure that they are heard. U is for unity. There are 9 candidates here. Every last one of them are great people. Now, believe it or not, although we're all different, we all want the same thing, and that is what is best for the city of Paducah. So as your commissioner, I will certainly make sure I work with the other 4, as well as the mayor, to make sure that Paducah becomes the best city possible. And again, with us working together, I'm quite sure that we are able to do that. So again, a bit about my background. Again, I'm the father of 3 adult kids. I've got 30 years in sales management background. I'm the founder of 3E Leadership Academy, which helps kids get ready for college and career. Executive director, I'm on the McCracken County Democratic Executive Committee. And also I'm a current member of the Paducah Human Rights Commission. So again, that's a little bit about me. And again, I'm just looking forward to working with the citizens of Paducah over the next 2 years as your city commissioner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to have you turn off your mic, and based on the order of the candidates that I have here, it looks like Mr. Guess, you're back up. If you can unmute your mic, and we will start the 2-minute time clock whenever you start talking. Is my mic on? Oh, okay. Mr. Guess? All right, Mr. Guest, we're going to come back around to you again.
Okay. I think I got it now. Got it? Can you hear me?
Yep. Yay. Okay. You can go ahead and start.
Good. My name's David Guess. I'm running for city commissioner. I grew up in McCracken County. I went to Reedland the first 9 years. I graduated from Paducah Tillman. I went to ventured 50 miles, went to Murray State, got a degree in business and biology. I have been self-employed my whole life. I built homes for about 10 years. I was just a contractor. I have had my own heating and air business since 1992. I was encouraged by my father to get into rental business. I have several I think we have 31 rentals. We've got into commercial real estate about 3 years ago. This past year, I've done about 12,000 feet under construction this past year. I've lived in Paducah my whole life. I wanted my kids to live here. I want my grandkids. I just want to have a better Paducah. And thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And then we're going to have you mute your mic, and we are going to go on to the next candidate, which is Mrs. Bedeau. And please let me know if I'm saying your name right as well, because I know that sometimes people get my name incorrect. So take that, correct me if you must. I want to make sure I get it right through. And that's for anyone else as well, if I might be mispronouncing your name. But you will be up next, and I will start your 2-minute timer once you start talking.
Good evening. Thank you to the hosts and organizers for this wonderful event, and a big thank you to citizens who are tuning in tonight. I am Lakila Bedeau, and for the next couple of minutes, I will share why I should be one of your Paducah City Commissioners. You know, sometimes in life we go through things and we don't understand why. Like growing up in a single parent home with a God-fearing grandmother, being bullied, made fun of as a child, battling with esteem issues and confidence because you're embarrassed to be on public assistance. Those are just a few of the barriers that I faced as a child. However, in overcoming that adversity, I learned how to advocate for others and myself. And I remember saying, when I grow up and become wealthy, I'm going to make a difference. I'm not wealthy yet, but I am making a difference. And I would love to continue advocating for all citizens, including the vulnerable population facing some of those same barriers I faced as a child. And I understand the importance of having a support system and someone to be your voice when you feel. And I'm running for office to continue the work that I started over 8 years ago, and that's advocating for students and families when it comes to the education system at the national level. So I'm not new to the leadership game. Don't let the baby face fool you. I will take the same passion and drive to ensure we educate, advocate, and unify on the local level. Educate our citizens on politics, especially when it comes to local government. Continue being an advocate for all, no matter your race, gender, socioeconomic status, etc. and unify. I'm a big sports fan, and it's going to take a team effort to accomplish the vision and goals of the city. A team that requires diversity, inclusiveness, and empathy. I look forward to continuing being a vessel because it's not about me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it looks like Mr. Guess's mic is still on. But I got a second before to actually mute him for me. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see who is next. Looks like, see, we've done Mr. B. Oh, okay. Pastor Henderson, looks like you are up next. If you would like to unmute your mic, you have the next 2 minutes, and we will start again your timer once you start speaking. And we're making sure everyone else's mics are muted, and they are. So whenever you want to start, go ahead.
Good evening. I am Ronaldo Henderson, and I do want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this event, and excited that the Paducah gets the opportunity to tune in. I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and have been in Paducah for the last 28 years. I have served as the senior servant of the Washington Street Church for those 28 years, and I have served also as the organizer and the president of the Washington Street Community Development Corporation. I am married. As a matter of fact, today is my 32nd year anniversary, and I have 3 adult children, and I am a 4-month-old grandfather, or a pops. So I'm excited about that. I have a bachelor's degree from Judson College in Communication Arts. I have a master's degree, a Master's of Divinity from Southern Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. And I am a proven leader, and I want to take the skills and my gifts and my talents that I have and bring them to the table to press forward and continue to make Paducah the great city that she is. I'm excited about the opportunities to share. I'm excited about the opportunities to serve. And as all the other candidates, if elected, I will certainly be a voice and I will be an advocate to bring about the change that I believe is needed here in the city of Paducah. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to the further dialogue with you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You were right on time. All right, if you can mute your mic, please. We're going to go on to the next candidate. I don't think I have to repeat how we're doing it. Do we have, I don't see any
Buzz.
on the list. Okay, Buzz, Mr. Buzz, if you could unmute your mic, please, and also go ahead with your 2-minute remarks, and we will start again the time clock once you start.
Thank you, NAACP, WKCTC, TTT Media Group, Mindful Podcast, and WPSD Channel 6 for inviting me to this forum. I'm running for city commissioners because we need more business-oriented people in office who have a proven record of financial responsibility and management skills to lead. I feel that electing inexperienced, popular candidates leads to the results that we have right now: financial irresponsibility of taxpayers' money. I have been giving back to this community, donating my time and money for 20 years. I plan on living here the rest of my life. The current direction for the last several years is not moving the city forward towards more jobs and growth. This must stop, or we will reach a point of no return. The self-serving pet projects such as boat docks, boutique downtown hotels, and of course the aquatic center will leave the city a burden for future generations to attempt to overcome. This will cost our city millions of dollars a year. I have been mentoring at the Tillman Trade School for many years, helping train diverse groups of young men and women in several skills. Most importantly, the skill of learning how to work at any job and develop good work ethics. I impress upon them how rewarding any skilled trade can be. I have also been spearheading the teaching at McCracken County Jail Inmate Vocational Program, giving another diverse group of people the confidence to hold a job and alternatives for employment upon release, proving to them that there are jobs waiting for them. This gives them the opportunity to become productive citizens in our community and not return to jail. So far, this program has been extremely successful. I will be getting back to it immediately as soon as deemed safe due to COVID-19.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And are there any candidates that I haven't called on that I might not be able to see based on my participant list? Mrs. Wilson, I did not see you on our participant list. So, Ms. Wilson, if you want to go ahead and have your 2-minute opening remark, we'll start the timer as soon as you start speaking.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hosting this event tonight, for you as MC and everyone that's involved. Never would we have imagined doing something like this via Zoom call. But in mid-March, all of our lives changed. But it has been my privilege and honor to serve this community in a variety of roles through the years, not only as an elected official, but as a dedicated volunteer. And I've always been one to get involved and to be ready to make tough decisions. Before I was an elected official, I was involved in many projects that I would consider pro-growth projects. And that includes the establishment and the building of the I-24 Logistics Park, where we have several hundred jobs now with H.T. Hackney, Whitehall, Coke, and the new plant that's coming in to take over from Genova. And we own that park and don't have any debt on the park itself. A beautiful facility downtown where our citizens can be educated and entertained with the Carson Center. And then the opportunity for our citizens to continue their education after WKCTC to get a 4-year degree, with my involvement with the UK College of Engineering and with the extended campus building of Murray State University here. Those were all proactive projects to address community needs and to do what was right for our citizens. My husband and I have 3 adult children who all live and work in Paducah along with their spouses, and we have 4 grandchildren. So my family and I are very committed, invested, and we are passionate about this community because this is where we all live, we work, we play, we worship, we educate, and we serve. And so that's really why I chose to run for Paducah City Commission in the first place and again in 2020. So it's hard work, but to me, it's worth every minute of it. So thank you for, again, this opportunity, and I look forward to sharing more time with you tonight.
Okay, thank you so much. And before we go any further, we'll kind of go over some housekeeping rules on how we'll do that. I can't stress enough about mics being muted on our end as well. We will also try to mute our mic when candidates are talking to not have that feedback. What we will do, we have already given you all the questions just so the audience knows. So they have been preparing for these. We're going to keep our remarks to about 2 minutes, and I want a head nod from technical support now to know that I'm saying the correct things. They'll be around 2 minutes, and we will have hand signs to tell you all when your time is starting to kind of wind down. So at the 1 minute mark, I'll be holding up my hand for 1 minute. Am I correct on that, Arthur?
So
if you all give me 1 second. Well, actually, if you don't mind, do you want to actually come over and so I'm actually going to have one of the hosts of the event explain the rules just because they have it consistently, and he's going to come over now. His name is Mr. Arthur Williams. He's going to come over and he is going to explain the housekeeping rules as far as your time goes. Now, come on over.
Good evening. We are going to be working with a segment of 4 candidates on and 4 candidates off. This is a technical moment, so that's why we are addressing it this way. So the candidates who are on group 1, you know who you are. Please stay on video. Those who are not, please unshare your video currently. So that just means turn the video off. You'll still stay on. We're not going to lose anyone. So again, those who are group 1, stay on. Those who are group 2, you are still on the platform, but in that, do not show your videos. So that way it will show only the videos of the candidates that are in group 1's forum. The questions will be 2.5 minutes, 30-second answers, 30 to 40-second answers, please.
Hey, Mr. Williams, am I on, did you move me to 1 or leave me on 2?
Yes, we did. You are on 1.
Okay, great.
Because, and please acknowledge that.
I have the same question. I don't know what group I'm in.
You are.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Say it again.
You're in group 1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions about what group they're in before we continue?
Yes, I do. This is David. I don't know what group I'm in.
Mr. David, you are in group 2.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, it looks like we're all ready to go. And so we will start with the first question. We have about 2 minutes to cover it, and keeping your questions to 30 to 40. When you are at the final, we're gonna say 10 seconds, you're just gonna see me hold my hand like this, even though I know that's 5. Just know that you have 10 seconds to kind of wrap it up. If everyone give me a thumbs up that they understand. Oh.
I'm about to spotlight everybody.
Okay, great. And so what we'll do is we will start. Could you also tell me who's in the first group so I know who to call on?
I'm spotlighting them.
All right, we're gonna give us 1 second. We're gonna spotlight the people who are part of the group so I know exactly who to call on.
Dave, mute.
Me?
Robert Shaw. There he is. Okay, everybody spotlighted. Did you not get the email? Okay, we're gonna print it.
All right. The first question, and we are going to start with Mr. Shaw. You're spotlighted at the moment. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right, great. Your mic's unmuted. Great. I will read the question as follows. Our world has been crippled by COVID-19. In addition, there has been a disproportionate health and economic impact from this pandemic to underinvested communities and communities of color. As an elected official, how would you address this issue of providing a broad investment that will both help people and enterprise recover and regress the inequities that set the stage for the fallout of the current crisis and the future crisis? So what are your specific action items to address how COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting the Black and Brown community?
Well, thank you. That's certainly a great question. But just like COVID-19, as long as all other types of activities, healthcare, everything else affects African American community more than any others. One thing that I would do is just make sure that our people have access. Again, the federal government, state government has done a good job of providing funds to businesses, also to individuals. But what I want to make sure that I do, and we do as a city, is make sure that, again, the funds are funneled to the people who need them, and also make sure that, again, the resources that are out there available, that we do take advantage of it. You know, again, a lot of things that are just like this forum here is on Facebook, it's on, you know, all type of other media like that. But there's a whole lot of people that are not reached because they don't have access to.
All right, your time is up. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we are going to go on that same question. Please let me know if you want me to repeat it for you. We are going to have, who is going to be the second person in the group who wants to volunteer. If you can just turn your mic off. If you're in that first group, you can go ahead and volunteer if you'd like to answer the question next by turning your mic off. Or on, I'm sorry.
I'll answer that.
All right, okay, perfect. Thank you for volunteering. And then as soon as you start talking, I will start the time clock.
Well, same question. I don't need it repeated. I would help by getting entrepreneurs connected with free tools and mentors that are currently available and that can help start successful new enterprises in these areas, and possibly by calling a new person, a new business liaison, so that if somebody's trying to start a new business or trying to figure out how to move forward on a project, to have a person available to them that points them that this is the step one, and this is how you get your taxes done. This is how you deal with the city. This is how you deal with the state, and give them the means possible to move forward on programs instead of just
Time's
attempting.
up. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you can mute your mic back, I'm going to ask the next person to go ahead and volunteer who is in group 1. You can volunteer again by unmuting your mic.
I think I will volunteer. I think I've unmuted my mic.
Yes, Mr. Henderson, you have, and we can hear you.
Okay.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I got it. I appreciate it though.
All right.
One of the things that I think that we need to acknowledge is that our communities, our underinvested communities, as you've referred to them, and our communities of color are crippled even the more by this pandemic. And so I think this is an excellent opportunity. As a matter of fact, not just an opportunity, but it is an imperative that we not continue with business as usual. So when the pandemic subsides and we're able to come together, I think it's important that we bring the persons who represent those communities together, and we not be presumptuous to think that we know what they need and we know what the solutions are, but we need to begin asking them what they think are the solutions to some of the challenges.
All right, your time is up, Mr. Henderson. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll try to make you all finish your sentence, give you a little bit of leeway and maybe even your thoughts. So I might give you all a little bit of time over, but I'm going to ask that now that you mute your mic, and the last person who is in group 1, if you want to go ahead and unmute your mic to answer the same question, and please let me know if I need to repeat it.
Hey, that's me, Shamaria.
Okay, oh great. All right. Do you need to repeat it?
Yeah, no, I don't need it repeated. It's okay. So absolutely, we need to invest our funding and our actions toward our communities of color and underinvested areas. And I think that one way we can do that, the city has budgeted right now for 2020 fiscal year about $1.5 million in funding to our nonprofits. And out of that funding recommendations, there's only one that is a Black operated entity, and that's the Hotel Metropolitan, but they do fund Human Rights Commission from that. But I think what we need to do is we need to look at those dollars in our budget and see how we can budget some priorities to address these issues that these communities have here in Paducah and what's important to us. The other thing, are we out? I'm out of town.
You have 4 more seconds.
Bridging out of poverty courses. I think we need to do that as a workshop for our commission.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think that's all of our candidates. In a moment, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right, or am I?
Can I have a chance to speak?
And who's that speaking at the moment? Is that Mr. Reed?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't
You're in group 2, actually, Mr. Reed.
I had to start the phone to make it work. So here I am.
Okay, Mr. Reed, you're actually in group 2. So you'll be answering questions after the intermission, so in about the next 30 minutes. So at the moment, if you just want to turn your mic off and your camera, but stay on the call, you'll be answering questions.
So, do I get a chance to introduce myself?
We'll give him a chance.
Yes, we will. Prior to the second group starting, we'll give you your opening 2 minutes. All right, great. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to move on to the second question, which is, what is your position on the proposed multi-million-dollar recreation and aquatic center? And I would like everyone to start off with a yes or no question on if they support it, and then they can continue with answering the question. And I think the way that we were doing it before was working. And if it doesn't, we can try something else where I'll just have someone volunteer, unmute your mic, and then you can start with the question or the answer. Mr. Henderson, you're up first.
Well, no, I do not support it in its present state. Let me help you understand where I'm coming from. I do not disagree with the concept of an aquatic center. I disagree with the timing of the aquatic center. I have some concerns to spend the kind of money that we're talking about spending on an aquatic center when there are infrastructure challenges right here in the city of Paducah. I have an issue with putting this over human needs. Let's take care of these human needs, these infrastructures first. And then I think it's important that we ask two important questions. One, what's our intended end? What's the outcome of this? And then the second question would be, will this aquatic center be something that everybody can enjoy, that everybody can
Your
be
time is
part of?
up. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It looked like, who did I see? I think Mr. Shy was right underneath you. So I'm not gonna go ahead and ask him if he can unmute his mic to go ahead and answer the same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, ma'am, I do have the question. Right, so the answer is no, I do not support the aquatic center. So certainly there's several reasons why. One thing that I always felt that Paducah has needed is simply a regular recreation center, which we don't have. The current one on 16th and Park Avenue is useless. So again, before we build a great structure, let's just build something that normal citizens can use. And also, I don't like the fact that some of the money is being raised and there's friends of the park and other people that will have control over the say, and Paducah won't have as much to say about how that money is used. So again, the answer, emphatically, no. I was against it even before COVID.
Thank you so much. Your time is up. I appreciate it. Between Mr. Buzz and Miss Winchester. Okay, it looks like you unmuted your mic first. Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yeah, no, I don't need you to repeat the question. So I agree with Ronaldo and Robert. The project should not move forward. Our revenues are too uncertain. There's already been a projected deficit for 5 years to begin with this project, and the partner on the project has not identified their promised funds. So that concerns me. I also strongly am very concerned this is not going to be inclusive to our community with the fees. So we're already obligated to this bond debt and we're paying interest on it. So the question now becomes, are we able to change that project to scope? And if so, what do we use this money for to have the best outcome for our community and address our true needs here?
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then for our last person, Mr. Bonsonaire, if you don't mind unmuting your mic and you can go ahead and start.
Well, this one's very easy for me. No. I find it ridiculous and insulting. Developing this is not a job description for the mayor or commissioner, according to KRS 83A 130, which is the mayor's council plan, powers, duties, and the mayor's council. Also KRS 83A 140, commissioner's plan, duties of mayor and commissioner. Nowhere in here is this part of their job title to create a new business like this. If this was a viable plan, it would be developed by private business and it already exists and it'd be viable. This one is not. It'll lose money from now to the end of time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Was that everyone? I'm guessing it is. Okay, perfect. We're going to go on to the third question in the questionnaire. It is, please describe how you would work to create a community environment that is welcoming, inclusive, and increasingly diverse. And with that question, I would ask for, again, specific plans in office rather than broad statements of how you support it, but how will you support it with specific things while you are in office if you make it that far. And we're gonna start off, actually, we'll start with Mr. Shy this time. If you want to unmute your mic, and we'll spotlight.
Thank you. First of all, diversity and inclusion comes in many different forms. It's not just about black and white. It's also about young and old and those haves and have-nots. So one thing that I've always been concerned about with the boards here in Paducah is that it's made up of uppity, well-to-do people, whether they're black or white. And so again, we should include everyone in that decision-making process. So diversify the boards is one way to make the citizens of Paducah, as well as everyone else, know that we are an inclusive city and everyone matters. Everyone's opinion matters.
Okay, thank you so much. Right on time. All right, I'll have someone volunteer to be next, and whoever unmutes their mic first.
I'll go.
Pastor?
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna gear this one toward the business environment becoming more inclusive and diverse in our downtown specifically. So we had programs, the city has programs to encourage new businesses and people to come in and develop, but they are across the board. Anybody can apply for those. But I think as a community and as a city, if we do one specifically that offers our grant programs to Black-owned business, minority businesses, that if we do that, I think that says a lot about Paducah, that we want you to bring that business here. We want you to have it, you know, in our downtown area, and we are welcoming those types of businesses. If we have a program, a grant specifically to help them get set up.
All right, your time is up. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, Mr. Henderson, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask you to go next, if that's okay with you. Your mic's already unmuted if you want to start.
Yes. I want to suggest that everything begins at the top. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And we can change policies all we want, but if we don't work diligently to change the culture, then a poor culture will eat all of our policies and all of our goals up for breakfast. So I think that we need to challenge business owners. We need to challenge even directors at on the city level to be a part of diversity and training, a part of things that they know to help, you know, things to become inclusive. We need to talk to even our young people. We're concerned about young people leaving the town. We need to talk to them. What makes them feel welcome here in Paducah? This is
time's gonna be up for you, Mr. Henderson. Thank you so much.
We need more time.
Isn't that always it? Mr. Montesmary, if you wanted to go ahead and unmute your mic, you'll be next.
Mr. Henderson, awesome. All right, by same question and kind of taking his farther forward. He ran out of time, I'll just continue with it. Also by encouraging anyone to step out of their comfort zone, introduce themselves to new people and situations. Even the littlest step would go a long ways, and make a point to change something or someone in your social circle. And I've lived all over the world, quite literally, and this has made a difference in my life forever. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, the next question, we're going to question 4. We have hit everyone on the list. Okay, perfect. Question 4. It's kind of a two-parter. So it is, what is your definition of diversity? And how would you encourage people to honor the uniqueness of each individual and challenge stereotypes and promote sensitivity and inclusion in your time in office? And if I may add to that question, talking about how do you not only do it within city halls, hallways, but also out in Paducah. So I might give you all a little bit of leeway with time, since it's kind of a multi-parter question, if that's okay with you all. I think everyone will appreciate that. Mrs. Winchester, if you'd like to start with that question.
I missed a little bit about what you said out in communities. Your mic was low, but
of course. Give me 1 second. How am I sounding now?
Now you sound good.
Great. So I'll go ahead and repeat the question just in its entirety. So the first is, what is your definition of diversity? And how would you, if you were in office, encourage people to honor that uniqueness of each individual and challenge stereotypes and promote sensitivity and inclusion? And that question applies to how do you do it within City Hall and also the city of Paducah at large. And I will give you all a few extra seconds since it's a multi-part question.
Okay, all right. So I'll start with the diversity definition first. To me, diversity is recognizing that everybody is unique and everybody has something different to offer. And that's on all levels of the different diversity, different backgrounds, religious beliefs, political, race, life experiences. But it's also understanding and appreciating those differences that we have. How do we honor the uniqueness? I think we do it by embracing each other's differences, but also our commonalities and building those relationships. And I would encourage people to reach out and join groups that they probably never would before, like the NAACP, for example, and going to events that maybe they never would have thought about partaking in, so they can understand that. And then challenging the stereotypes. We just have to step up, and when we see something happening, especially as leaders, we have to call people out on it, and we have to make people accountable, and we need to train city employees, I think, in sensitivity and diversity as well. Do I have any more times? I can keep going. Can y'all hear me?
I know you can. Okay, we're gonna go to Mr. Shy next.
Okay.
Same question. And again, do you need me to repeat it?
No, ma'am, I think I can work with it. So again, for me, diversity basically means just differences of people, you know, like I said, whether it's a religion, age, sex, all types of things like that. Everyone is diverse and unique. Now, in terms of inclusion, so that's a big thing. There are a lot of times, you know, people are included. Now, I'll give you a perfect example here. Yesterday, there was a meeting down at the courthouse among some people, and it was a very diverse group, but there was one group of people that was missing. So again, if you're going to talk about people and their interactions with the police, what was missing out of that group is some people who have been on the other side of the law. You know, so that's what's needed. So again, we're going to talk about solving problems. Don't we need some people who are experiencing those things? So as we go about our day-to-day life, as we go about making Paducah better, again, we want to make sure that everyone, no matter who you are, big or small, is included in the process, and you don't feel what's left out. And that's the problem right now. People
Thank you so much. Your time is up. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to let y'all know I'm really enjoying this. Usually people don't say. I feel a little bit of power over here. But we're gonna next. We'll have that same question, and I believe Mr. Henderson. I don't feel like we've had you yet. If you don't mind.
All right, thank you. I think diversity, in my opinion, is perception and change. Diversity is being respectful and non-judgmental. Diversity is having an open mind to accept all people, and that all really does mean all. And I agree with Melinda when she says that when we, in leadership or just in everyday conversation, when things are said and or done, we need to denounce it. We need to call it out, whether it's at the workplace or in the community or even at the church. We've got to stop this. That's what diversity is.
Okay, thank you. So you still have, I'm going to pause this. You still have about 17 to 20 more seconds. So if you wanted to. Can I
take that and roll it over to the next question?
Well, Kenny?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. And I mean, moving forward, the first group, you all are a little bit done now. I wish we could have did that some, but most of the time you all took all your time. So I think we're good. And we have just went through the first 4 questions. And so I'm going to see if we're either going to go to a break and then go to the second group, or if we want to continue continue questions. If you all.
My turn.
Mr. Vontae, I am so sorry. I'm trying to erase you from this whole thing. You go.
I'm a very sensitive person. I may cry.
You go. All right.
Okay, this is question 4, correct?
It is. Do you need me to repeat it?
Nope.
All right.
I have all my notes. Diversity itself defines itself, so I'm not going to waste time on there. It's been covered by everybody. From a very young age, I have worked and lived all over this world, quite literally on the other side of this world. I've been around the world about 6 times. I stopped defining people by their color of their skin and defined them by their actions and character since I was very young. I've never been able to, from where I lived, make judgments like other people do. And that has been my belief all my life. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. And I think now that what do you mean 30 seconds
30.
on?
30 seconds so we can switch the people.
So we are going to switch to group 2 now. And we are going to have about a 30-second intermission to go between the groups. And so what we're going to do is ask for group 1 to do what we asked group 2 to do, which was you can now turn off your cameras and continue to have your mics muted. And I'm going to
Are we going to come back to the rest of the questions later?
I believe so. We're going to go ahead and switch. I know, yes, we are going to come back to those questions. I'm getting to absolutely. So group 2, everyone in group 2, do you know if you're in group 2 or not? Okay, I think group 2 is okay. Everyone in group 2, could you confirm that everyone on group 2 has their
Unmute.
Okay, perfect. Everyone who's on group 2, you have your camera up and going. And I'm going to make sure we're going to start from the top, right? Question 1 for group 2 as well. You want to start from the top? Okay. It's okay. And before we start with the questions for group 2, Mr. Reed did just come in and he did not get the chance to do his 2-minute introduction. So if you want to take that opportunity actually to do that right now, we would all appreciate it. And once you start talking, we will start your mic or your time clock.
Very good. I can't see myself though.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're going to change that in 1 second.
Just ask him to do it.
All right, can you see yourself now?
Yeah, now I got it.
Okay, great.
Okay. I'm Mike Reed. I grew up in Paducah. I'm here for around about 60 years. I moved off a little bit, came back. And I've seen very good stuff here in Paducah, and I've seen some evil in Paducah. And through the years, it's been very discouraging at times, but the Lord brought me through. And so I'm here to offer the overtly unapologetic Christian alternative. I'm sure you guys all have your religion and so forth, and you probably all talk to the Lord Jesus. I sure hope so. But I want to be completely, as nearly as possible as I can, controlled by what the Holy Ghost speaks to me. And I want to help other people to come to that sort of relationship. And I think that will bless Paducah more than anything else could. We have rebelled and turned away from the Lord God, and it's been nothing but trouble for us. So that's who I am, and I really want to bring the love of God into every part of our, every crevice of our community. And I welcome you guys to help me. And if I'm not elected, I'll still be doing that. So I want to help what you guys do. I want to help the city government. I want to help.
All right, your time is up. We're going to have to wrap it up right there. I appreciate it.
Very good. Thanks.
Question. So we are going to start back at the top from question number 1 for group 2. I don't think I have to go over the housekeeping rules again. You kind of saw how it worked out. Again, we're going to go back to that 30-second, 40-second time period for you to answer those questions. So for question 1, I am going to go ahead and repeat that question. And everyone knows who's in group 2. Is that correct? Could you please give me a thumbs up to make sure that you know I should have Mr. Doe, Miss Wilson, Mr. Reed. And it seems like I added somebody in group 1 that I shouldn't have. Mr. Guest. Okay, you're so okay. That's who it is. I think it was mixed around. Okay, everyone good?
Yeah,
Great.
we had it 6.
I am going to start back at 1 for group number 2. The question is, our world has been crippled by COVID-19. In addition, there has been a disproportionate health and economic impact from this pandemic on underinvested communities and communities of color. As an elected official, how would you address this issue of providing a broad investment that will help both people and enterprises recover and regress the inequities that set the state for the fallout of the current crisis and future crises? And we will start based on what I have here. We'll start with Mr. Guess. And Mr. Reed, if you don't mind muting your mic for me.
Oh, okay.
And then Mr. Guess, if we're going to unmute your mic.
He's not there.
Mr. Guess, do we have you? All right, we're going to skip Mr. Guess. He might be having some technical difficulties, but we'll go back to him. Ms. Wilson, I'm going to ask you to go next then.
Well, thank you. That is really a very multi-layered question. And I think, first of all, we have to ensure that there is an awareness and understanding of this issue in our community and what it means and what can be done. And poverty is an issue that has been studied, and healthcare and how it impacts everyone has been studied. And there has been a lot of progress made, but there's still a long way to go. I know with the COVID cases that we had in McCracken County, 64% were white, 28% were Black, and of those, 75% of the white have recovered and 91% of the Black. So I do believe there is healthcare opportunities for our people. One of the things that we found out is that when small business owners are in the middle of a crisis of trying to keep their business open, it's hard for them to step out of that fire that they're in to learn how that they could be more successful, or how they could get loans, how they could get assistance through the Paycheck Protection Program, through the Small City Small Business Grant. So those are awareness issues that we need to address.
Okay, thank you so much. Next, we are going to have Ms. Beddoe. If you don't mind, go ahead and answering that same question, and let me know if you need me for me to repeat it.
So we have to keep it real. The health and equity disparities existed before the pandemic, and that's the reason for the extremely high numbers. It's a legacy of discrimination that is limited access and health to health and wealth for people of color. That leads to the underlying conditions that you see, the diabetes, the heart disease, et cetera. So we have to, as leaders, acknowledge there is a problem. As Ms. Wilson said, it's all about awareness. As a city commissioner, I will be intentional to provide those resources and programs to get to the root of the problem, because it's a structural issue, not genetic. And what we're seeing is a vulnerable population that's being marginalized. And this is why we need leaders who are going to hold leadership accountable. And that's what I would do as city commissioner.
Thank you so much. I think my mic's unmuted now. We are going to go on to Mr. Reed. And does anyone know if Mr. Guess is back? Do we see Mr. Guess? Mr. Reed, if you don't mind unmuting your mic, you'll be next.
Okay, how's that? Are we good? Are we there? I'm not getting any feedback. I guess I'll just start talking. I wonder if the whole COVID pandemic thing hasn't been oversold, if we haven't overreacted from this thing. But putting that aside, I would recommend that I would like to enlist churches, especially the men in churches, to stand up and adopt kids who are having trouble. If a kid is having problems at home, if he's having trouble in school, I would like to coordinate with those schools and find those kids. I've been reading with a kid for a few years at McNabb Elementary, and then I followed him over to Morgan. And he's a great kid, and man, he's made great strides in his reading. But I would like to expand on that. I would like to involve retired guys like myself who could help to teach a kid a skill so that he has something to market himself with.
All right, your time is up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And one more time, shout out to Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest, are you in the building? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see if we see anybody. All right, all we see is the Golden Gate. Is that the Golden Gate? Oh, it's the Golden Gate. Well, we'll come back to Mr. Reed. I'm sorry, Mr. Guest, if he does end up being able to come back. We're going to move on to our second question. And I'm going to ask Ms. Bedell to actually start that one off, but I will say the question for our audience. What is your position on the proposed multi-million-dollar recreation and aquatic center? And if you can please start your answer off with yes or no if you are in support of it in its current state.
So not at the moment. I totally believe in health and wellness, especially when you have a 4-year-old. You need all the energy that you can get. But at the moment, I think the project should not move forward because A, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but even before that, we have other priorities that we need to focus on. Our citizens need leadership to focus on transportation issues, funds for our public service workers, et cetera. But lastly, when the matter comes back to the table, we need to make sure that we are intentional. It's all about being intentional, that we have a diverse group being able to give their input and a representation from all walks of life.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, that is up. Ms. Wilson, I'm going to go ahead and have you answer the same question and let me know if you need me to repeat it.
Okay. Well, these projects have been talked about in our community for decades now. If you look at a story from July 2002 in the Paducah Sun, the exact same project was talked about at the exact same location. But if you fast forward to March of 2020, when COVID-19 abruptly hit our world, our economy has changed. There is no doubt about it. We all see that. We're living it every day. The project has been paused, of which I've supported. And in reality, I do not see it happening in our future at this time. I do not see us taking any further steps in 2020. I think our focus now has to be on rebounding and recovering our economy and our local community. Shamari, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. In the beginning, do you support or do not support the indoor recreation and aquatic center as a whole, even if it's not during this time? I was asking everyone to answer that at the beginning.
There have been times, yes, that I have supported it. And I think it was being built as a very inclusive opportunity for all of our citizens. There were scholarships to be offered. There were a lot of opportunities that this would have provided for our local citizens. It also would have showed us as a community that of progressiveness, of growth. But at the time, no, we're not moving forward.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Ms. Wilson. We are going to go ahead, Mr. Guest. I'm going to try Mr. Guest again just to make sure that I don't inadvertently skip him. Okay, seems like he's still not there. We're going to go on then to the third question, which is, please describe how you would work to create a community environment.
I didn't get a chance to talk about the aquatic center.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Reed. Go ahead. I keep doing that speaking. Y'all have to excuse me. Go ahead. I'm so sorry about that. Do you need me to repeat the question?
All right. No.
Okay.
We already have an aquatic center. But it's not in Noble Park. It's like 5 miles south of Paducah. It's called the Paducah Athletic Club. There's a very nice swimming pool out there. The Paducah swim team uses it, I hear. It's a great place. And from what Mr. Hagan, the owner of the place, says, it's not like a great money generating enterprise. I mean, he's still like $1 million in debt from when he built the thing. So I favor letting this guy continue to dig himself out of the hole and use what we have. And, COVID came along at a kind of a convenient time for the city commission to say, oh, well, we're going to throw up our hands on this. But if they had not cut off public input from the city commission meeting, they would have realized that there's overwhelming opposition to this.
Time's up. Thank you so much. I appreciate. I'm trying to make everyone kind of finish their thoughts. So please bear with me if I might seem like I'm giving more people a little bit more time. I'm trying to have everyone finish at least a thought or a sentence. And just to double check, do I have everybody? Okay, great. We're going to go on to our third question, which is, please describe how you would work to create a community environment that is welcoming, inclusive, and increasingly diverse. And we're going to start with Ms. Wilson this time, if that's okay.
Okay, well, thank you. I believe that my voting record and the actions that I have shown as a commissioner to work would show that I've worked really hard to create an environment that is welcoming, inclusive, and diverse. We made a change to our local human rights ordinance to do that. And I am very comfortable that our community has embraced that. Companies that want to locate to cities want to have a community that's very diverse. And I've worked really hard with the NAACP to make sure that they are very visible in our community and that they have a place at the table all the time in events that they need to be. And I'm a Silver Lifetime member of the NAACP. I've been very supportive of them, supportive of the August 8th activities, the W.C. Young Community Center, and I would not tolerate allowing any kind of actions that would not be welcoming to people in our community. And I think it's important that we respect everyone and that we show our community as being very welcoming, inclusive, and very diverse.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're going to go on. We're going to go to Mr. Reed this time. Would you like to unmute your mic and you can go ahead and start with your answer?
Well,
and we're going to put a spotlight on you.
I'm up there in the corner there. You can see me there.
Yeah, no, we want to see you,
Okay.
Mr. Reed. I'm sorry about that. We want to see you.
I'm not nearly as pretty as the rest of you guys, but anyway, you get what you see here. I hesitate to group people into categories and so forth. I think we ought to deal with each person individually. I think we ought to speak to people, listen to people, and respond to people individually. And all this sort of thing of identity and categories and classes and so forth, that does nothing but put us against each other. Why don't we just go back to the ideal of Dr. King, where we judge a person by the content of his character, not by his skin color or his DNA, and just love each other by the word of God, the golden rule.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, Ms. Vidal, I think you're going to be the last person in the group because I don't think Mr. Guest is with us yet if you wanted to answer that question as well.
So first off, I would just continue being me, a person for the people. And a couple of sessions on politics wouldn't hurt, one-on-one, because, you know, it can get kind of confusing. And of course, actively listening to the concerns of our citizens and come up with practical solutions together. And if there's ever a group who feels like they're not being heard or at the table, as a commissioner, I will be intentional about reaching out to give them an opportunity to share. And lastly, having an opportunity to be engaged is the key when it comes down. And this is when citizens will truly feel empowered and change will start.
Appreciate it. Okay, do we have everyone in that group having answered question number 3? We're going to see if we can get are we going to try Mr. Guest again? It looks like I see something, Mr. Guest.
That's one weird situation.
Mr. Guest, is that him? No, that's Mr. Reed. He has his mic on. Mr. Guest doesn't have his mic on. So we're going to have to bypass you again, and hopefully we can get you into that second round when we go to the next set of questions. In the interim, we're going to go on to the question number 4, which is the time that we give you all an extra 20 seconds or so, since this is a multi-layered question, which is, the first is, what is your definition of diversity? And the second question is, how would you encourage people to honor the uniqueness of each individual and challenge stereotypes and promote sensitivity and inclusion, not only in City Hall, but also within the community of Paducah? Ms. Vidal, if you want to start this one off.
So I'll focus on having a diverse team and inclusive team. So in my opinion, when I think of the word or hear the word diverse, I think of a team that consists of different ethnic groups, genders, socioeconomic status, as far as the classes, and the list can go on and on. And I don't mean just having your token person at the table so you can meet your quota. Everyone's voice that is respected, and all members are actively listening and allowing everyone to engage. And where differences are put aside and we are focusing on the goals at hand. And lastly, everyone feels valued. And as far as challenging the stereotypes, we simply need to continue speaking up as leaders. Even if you don't have a title, you don't need a title to be a leader, but continue speaking up. And that's what I would do as city commissioner, whether it's in the courtroom, the boardroom, the community. I will hold our team as leaders, as city leadership accountable.
All right, thank you so much. Your time is up. I appreciate it. We are going to go to Mr. Reed next, if it's okay. Would you like to start?
Okay, I think we're there, right? Is this question 4?
Yeah, it is. It is question number 4. And we're going to give you a little extra time. And we have 2 mics that are still open, and we're going to close those mics before we have you start, Mr. Reed, just so you aren't interrupted by feedback. You just give us 1 moment.
Ready?
Okay, and yep, you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
All right. I'll just kind of continue with what I was saying before. I don't see any problem with treating people as individuals and loving them, no matter who they are, giving them exactly what they need, and let the love of God flow from your heart to make you loving in your actions. This kind of thing of quotas and so forth, it sets us against each other, and we surely don't need that. What we do need is the thrust, the encouragement to excel. Excellence is what sells in the real world. If you're better than the next guy, if you know how to utilize your skills, you can go far in this world. And depending on the government or something to give you a spot because you're of a certain class or group or race, it's not the real world, and it will not succeed, I'm afraid. And I have members of my family who have African blood, and I would tell them, let's get out there and do what you can do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate Mr. Reed. That wraps up. Mixed up in the order that I went in this time. Did everyone answer question number 4?
I did not.
Okay, perfect. If you want to go ahead and unmute your mic, which is unmuted, Ms. Wilson, you're next.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, diversity to me means understanding that each individual is unique and with individual differences. And so that can include a lot of things. And a lot of them have been named tonight, but race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical abilities, religion, all of that. So I think it's critical that we don't judge each other by our differences, but that we respect each other. And honestly, sometimes it comes down to just being kind to each other about those differences. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to lead by example. And I hope I do that every day. I certainly strive to do that. When I feel like others are being judged or wrongly attacked, I'm going to step up and I'm going to say something. And it's important to have diversity in key roles in our community as well. And so I would say if we're areas that we're lacking and having a diversity in key leadership roles, please let us know. We're always looking for people to be more involved in our community. So step up. We're happy to try to find a place for you.
One through 4. Oh, sorry about that. So I appreciate it. Oh, COVID-19. This is funny. We'll tell kids about this.
Yes.
They won't believe it. We have done question 1 through 4 for the second group. I think we are now going to take a quick break, an intermission for us to then transition to the next set of questions, which I believe will be debate style. So that'll be happening. Will all of our mics be, we're going to just mute all of our mics at the moment. And so we'll come back in about how many minutes? In 1. So we'll have 1 minute, a minute 30. You can stay on screen or you can walk out, get some water, use the bathroom, whatever you need, and we'll be right back. We are going to do the last 4 questions where we have actually all of you up. And we will have the same amount of time. It'll work out, I think, just as fine. And we'll start from questions 5 all the way till 8. And we do actually have some audience questions, which I left where I was supposed to leave them. So we're going to start with the questions that are in front of me instead. And if everyone can just pull up their photos or their video, but do keep your mics on mute. And I'll wait for everyone to do that. Are we good, y'all?
5, 6, 7. We're good. Yeah, and acknowledge that she wanted to be here. She's ill and she could not be here this evening.
All right. And before we start, I just wanted to acknowledge that we did reach out to all the candidates on whether they could be here or not. And Mrs. Gold actually said that she did want to be here, but unfortunately she is sick. So we just wanted to recognize that to let everyone know that we had reached out to all candidates. And unfortunately, we hope she gets better as well. We're going to move forward and we're going to go to question number 5. And I am just going to kind of just go down the list that I have here, just so you know how we'll do it is. For question number 5, you'll have between 30 and 40 seconds to answer. We're going to start with Mr. Shy, and then we are going to go on to Mr. Montesmar. Mr. Henderson is going to be next, Ms. Winchester. After that, Ms. Bedeau. After that, Ms. Wilson. After that, and then Mr. Reed next. And if Mr. Guest is back to us, we'll do him last as well. And I'll kind of prompt you all to do so. We'll start with question 5, which is, give an example of how you walk in the shoes of people you serve and those whom you work with. And we will again start with Mr. Shy.
All right, thank you. Not only have I walked in the shoes of the citizens that I will be serving, I've also waded in the water with the citizens that I will be serving. Again, my house as well has experienced some of the flooding problems that other people's have. I was, though, able to get with the Public Works Director and get that issue rectified to a degree. Every time it rains, I have to go around the corner and rake leaves from the culvert so that the flooding stops. So again, I know what you feel. I experience what you experience. So again, I've not only walked in the water, I've waded in their shoes as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We are going to do next, Mr. Montesmar, if you wanted to unmute your mic, you're next.
I liked his statement about the water. I live at 25th and Jackson, and if it rains an inch, I get a foot. But on another note, I have spent a majority of my life in a work uniform and steel-toe boots, been a pipe fitter, and several other trades that I teach and done. And I find these shoes very comfortable. And I also at times find myself on a corporate board, and I can wear those shoes very comfortably also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm giving you all 40 seconds and no one's using it. I'm about to take it down. You okay? All right, we have next Mr. Henderson. Let's see if he'll use all his time.
I think I walk in people's shoes every day. Our church is open every Monday and every Friday, and we walk with people who have all kinds of challenges and all kinds of needs. And so I'm there listening to people, not assuming that I already know their answer. I'm there at the same time encouraging, trying to understand what those challenges are. And every day I'm trying to offer some encouragement and some hope. And then I work to be about the hope that I'm trying to give people. So yes, I do walk in those shoes every day that I come here to this.
Back on.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Next, we have Ms. Winchester.
So the shoes that I walk in, I've got 3 examples here. The first one, for those single mothers out there with small children that have to work 50, 60 hours a week just to try to support them and struggle, I've walked in those shoes with my first 2 little boys. Single mom. Also, small business owner, have been one for a long time. And I understand those struggles and stresses, but I think most lately, the shoes that I walk in are those of the taxpayer here in Paducah, and those especially who don't feel like they have a voice right now in these decisions that are being made.
You're up.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And next, we're going to go to Ms. Bedeau.
As an educator, I'm blessed to empower students and families by removing the non-academic barriers. Some of those same barriers that I faced as a child that I mentioned earlier during the intro. And that has allowed me, my personal experience, along with my professional experience, to be authentic and compassionate. And I still have family members who are walking in some of those shoes, whether it be your grandmother raising the single parents or the kids or that single mom or the citizen who is simply just too afraid to speak up because they feel like their voice doesn't matter. I will not be fake. I will continue to be authentic and understand because I've been there, done that, and we go through things for a reason, and that's going to help me as city commissioner.
Right, thank you so much. Next, we have Ms. Wilson.
Well, I certainly try to look at what others are going through and to walk in their shoes. I've walked the city, I've walked the community, but let's face it, no one really knows what another person is going through unless they've actually experienced it themselves. And especially when it comes to racial issues right now that are at the forefront in our community that we're hearing so much about. And I had the opportunity to share a story this week with some African-American mothers about when my daughter was driving on the interstate going back to school and her car broke down, and she's sitting on the side of the interstate at night, and she called me. And while we were talking, a state trooper pulled up to her car. And I had to say, I stayed on the phone with her, but I was relieved to hear that it was a law officer. But I know there are parents of African-American children who do not have that same feeling. They have that worry and they're scared when that happens. So I have full empathy for people that are experiencing different situations, but I'm listening, I'm learning, I certainly have compassion, and I will tell you that I'm willing to make changes when changes need to be made. And I do trust our Paducah Police Department, and I have a lot of faith in them. I know they've gone through.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap you up. I'm so sorry about that. Time is up. Next, we are going to have Mr. Reed. And again, if Mr. Guest pops up from San Francisco, we'll go ahead and have him too.
Ready for me? Can you hear me now? Hello there. Anyway.
Okay, you're good.
Now you can hear? Okay. I come from a family that has had some problems with the powers that be in this city, shall we say. And I've fought for this thing for decades. I fought with these folks for decades, and I've seen the kind of discrimination in other folks that Black folks experience. I've been part of Ray Henderson's racial unity group, and I've listened to and heard some of the problems that those folks go through. And I have been a person who's fought with government, and I have endured. I have lasted despite the attacks to myself, and I have a personal connection to this, and I would advocate for people of color and minorities with all my might. That's about all I can say, I guess. I'm running out of time. If I had more time, I'd go into it deeper, but.
Okay. Mr. Guest. Is Mr. Guest in the building? No? Okay. All right. Can't stop a girl from trying. We're going to go on to question number 6. And I think I'm going to go in the opposite order. So we're going to start with Mr. Reed, and then Ms. Wilson, and then so on and so forth. That question, do you think our Main Street / downtown area is healthy and successful? And I ask that you tell me what part of it is. And if not, what would you do to change that? And again, I'll ask you to be specific in what you would or would not do. And again, start with Mr. Reed.
Okay, it's pretty obvious. I've lived around here a long time, and the downtown has, it's prettier than it used to be, but it's certainly not as active as it was. It was a hopping place when I was a kid. I would work to make Paducah more business friendly. I would relax some of the regulations, some of the strictures, and I would work with people with business ideas for small business, and try to cultivate and try to encourage these folks and do all I can to incorporate, like I said before, retired folks who can come in and mentor and teach skills and just encourage these folks to incubate new businesses. And more liberty, I think, is what we need, and less of the top-down management style. So,
thank you. All right, thank you so much. Next, we're going to do Ms. Wilson.
Well, a downtown is really the heart of your city. And when we were in Frankfurt earlier this year, BC, I guess before COVID, Jeff Taylor, a top official with the Economic Development Cabinet, praised our downtown and said there is so much potential for even more growth. But here was the phrase he used: if you are not taking care of your downtown, you aren't taking care of anything else. And I believe that we have been working really hard to take care of our downtown. We've had a lot of new businesses opening up, a lot of millennials and entrepreneurs. We focused on people living downtown, trying to get it to be a tourism experience. We worked really hard to get federal dollars to help us with our federal build grant. So that will bring another 10.4 million down to rebuild infrastructure around our riverfront and downtown area.
Okay, now I am unmuted. Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson. Ms. Fidel, you are going to be next.
So yes, I think progress has been made when it comes to the downtown area and that they're doing a great job. One project that stands out to me is the Market House Theater expansion, taking advantage of the historic buildings also at the end of the day, helping our students when it comes to the arts, because that's super important. However, there is room for improvement, and this is not going to be a surprise, especially when it comes to the minority establishments, small businesses located in the downtown area. I think there should be more opportunities, and we have heard of cities who have game plans that work. So resources out there, we need to take advantage of them.
On time. I'm sorry I didn't do my mark down, but that was literally right on time. Okay, next we're gonna do Ms. Winchester.
Hi, you guys want to hear what I have to say about downtown? We have a great downtown. Since 2014, especially, we've worked, and I personally worked very, very hard with lots of partners and lots of people in our community to bring that downtown back. And I think it's been significant. There are still lots of issues going on. I see it every day with maintenance of the flower beds and the streets. I think that they're trying to work on some of that and address it, and COVID may have had some problems with that, and that's why we're seeing it so bad now. We've still got a couple of buildings down there that are ticking time bombs, and one's getting ready to fall on us, and the city's going to have to deal with that because the owner's not going to pay for it. So we need to understand those issues. Am I done? I'm done. I could talk all night about downtown, so.
Okay, Ms. Henderson, you're up. Oh, Mr. Henderson, you're up.
I'm sorry. I think if I had to give a grade to our downtown area on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give our downtown area a 6. I think we are making much progress down there. However, we're on a progressive path, but we've got a whole lot more to do. I think that it's important that we get downtown popping, other than just the weekends. But we need to have bring some clientele, bring some businesses in, some clientele who will spend some money, and let's do some of the things that I am told used to be done, or some of the things that used to happen in the downtown area. I love being downtown. I love hanging downtown, and I think so. So we got some work to do, but we're doing great.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Mr. Montesmar, it's you next.
Okay, on this subject, I think our downtown currently has a lot of potential. We need to encourage far more development and housing in the upper floors of these downtown buildings and restaurants and businesses on the ground floors. Putting a boutique hotel in our very valuable downtown parking lot is counterproductive to any development downtown and growth. Thank you.
Mr. Shai, you're up next.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do think downtown, main town is very healthy and successful. You know what? That's what happens when you put millions and millions of dollars into a certain part of town. But what about North Side, South Side, Littlesville, Mechanicsville? What about the other parts of town? You know what? If we put that type of money and effort into those, guess what? They will be vibrant as well. So again, we need to redistribute that money to other parts of town as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shai. The same for you. Short and sweet. We will go to the next question. And we will do it in the opposite order. That means we're going to be starting with Mr. Shy, ending with Mr. Reed. Economically, what is important for our city right now? So some examples I gave the questions was building new homes, commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better use of existing homes and storefronts. So economically, what is important for the city right now? Again, we'll start with Mr. Shy. Your time starts now.
All right, there are two things that are very important right now for the city. First of all, is good paying job, not just jobs that pay $8, $9, $10 an hour, but certainly good paying jobs that will give people a living wage. The other thing that's important is affordable housing. Good housing, again, do have a housing shortage in the city of Paducah. Again, we need to build more homes and again, better jobs for those people to live in them.
Okay, thank you so much. You won't see me for just a little moment. I'll be back up. But nonetheless, we're going to go on to Mr. Von Tesmere. Mr. Von Tesmar, excuse me.
There you go. Thank you. Von Tesmar. My answer to question 7 is more or less just carried on from the last question 6. I feel there are many more. I was trying
to make sure what we had said we was talking. So just tell him that you don't need it again.
Hold on. Somebody else is talking over me there. I feel that there's many more commercial properties available and existing homes that need to receive attention and funding, particularly on the south side. And as Mr. Shea said, there's several communities that the projects are there just waiting to be done. The money's available. It's just getting these things together. And it does bring everybody's property value up. The whole city, everybody, and quality of life. Thank
you.
We're going to go on to Mr. Henderson next. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there are a lot of things, obviously, that we can do, but one of my passions is our community, our communities. I'm concerned as I drive through the communities. I'm concerned about the dilapidated buildings. I'm concerned about the grass growing up in front of other people's homes. I'm concerned about. So I think we ought to be doing. How do we redistribute some of this money? How do we get some of this money and put in the communities so these communities can begin to flourish and these communities can begin to grow as other parts of our city are growing? And so, yeah, let's get some affordable housing here. Let's rehab some homes. Let's tear down some buildings that need to be torn down. Let's get in every area of our city.
All right, time's up. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to go to Ms. Winchester.
So I think first and foremost, we need to make sure that we're being responsible and diligent with our taxpayer money. And then that's going to flow down to the other things that are being mentioned here tonight by the other candidates. And we've got a lot of businesses and families right now that are still suffering and from COVID-19. So I think first and foremost, we've really got to help them sustain and survive. We've already lost several that we've heard of in the community. And then also, I think it's important that we support and increase opportunities for workforce development so we can attract those new businesses and jobs here to Paducah.
All right, thank you so much. We are going to go next to Ms. Bedell.
So question 7, I would say unity, not just because of what's going on in the world when it comes to race relations. I'm speaking of economic development and partnerships. When businesses look at communities, they want to see you have a game plan and they want to see collaboration when it comes to the business sector, economic development, and the education system. That is when you will see the increase of the good paying jobs, the housing, the quality of life, all of that in return will flourish. So unity.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'll actually give the candidates some time to answer this. So I have a couple of audience questions here. And we can either go on to question number 8, or you all can start accepting some questions from the audience. By a show of hands, if you want to start the audience questions, go ahead and raise your hand now.
I did not get a chance. respond to the last question there, if you have time for me.
Yes, Mr. Reed. Yes. I'm sorry. I was just trying to get something right before. Okay, Mr. Reed, go ahead. It wouldn't be me if I didn't miss somebody. So, go ahead.
Of all the folks in this group here, I probably have the least experience in business, but I know what's what. And our problem is not the buildings. It's not even jobs. The problem is our culture has deteriorated because of the breakdown of the family, and that can only be solved if we come back to the Lord Jesus. If we take on individual responsibility. I'm calling on men especially. I am one of those things. We need to turn to God, call out in repentance, and say, Lord God, help me to do what I ought to do. Help me to bear my responsibility, to raise my kids. And from that core strength, the container for all will be released.
We're going to go to Ms. Wilson to answer this that last question, and then we can do the hand raising on if you all want to go ahead, and let's go to audience or finish question number 8. Ms. Wilson?
The question is, what is the most important for our city economically right now? And I can't pass up this opportunity to talk about how important it is that we get our city open back up. And we have to do it safely. I do know that. But we have to get our city back open. We have to support our local businesses, and we have to rebuild consumer confidence in our own local citizens to support our local businesses, but also to get our visitors back into our community. Tourism is a $263 million industry for our county, and that industry has been hit very hard and employs a lot of people. So I hope in the next 2 to 3 months, we're not even talking about COVID-19, that we're talking about more about job growth. We're talking about housing. That today we have to get our community open back up and get our people back at work and our people back out supporting our local businesses.
You were up.
All right, thank you so much. And now we're going to put us on a group gallery view so I can kind of take a little small survey. Do we want to go on to question number 8, or do we want to answer one of these audience questions right now? So if you want to answer the audience question, if I can have you raise your hand, please. Okay, it seems like everyone's going. Okay, so we're going to go on to question number 8, and then we'll do the audience question. Okay, question number 8. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in Paducah? I like that one. We're going to start with Mr. Reed.
All righty. Number 1, I would open the city commission meetings once again to public comment. That was a boneheaded idea to cut off debate and public input. That's a nice first step. As well, I would like to, I think I heard someone suggest that we move the city commission meetings around to different areas of town. I think that would be pretty cool. Open up our government to transparency, open up to let people see the way it works and to comment on the way it works and to bring their concerns directly to the commission.
All right, thank you so much. You are out of time. We're going to go on to Mrs. Wilson.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to be involved in the process, there are many ways to do that. And one is running for elected office. So I want to commend all of you for stepping up and doing that. Thank you. But people can serve on boards, they can serve on committees and volunteers. If you're looking for a place, let me know. I can find you a place to be involved in this community. And people know I have an open door policy. I'm very approachable. You can reach out to me and I'll find a place for you to be involved in this community. And I think that's just step 1. And helping to make these kind of important decisions in our community.
Part of the problem.
So much, Ms. Vidal.
I guess I better mute myself here. Huh?
Ms. Vidal?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Ready? So actively listening and encouraging citizens to get involved from day 1. And we shouldn't wait for a crisis to hit or pressure to be applied to invite people to the table. And not just invite them to the table, but allow them to take up space and speak And I want it to be organic and once again, get them to buy in from the start. And this happens when leaders are intentional. That's like the word of the day for me, intentional. When it comes to having those conversations, and representation is so important. Representation is important. And lastly, citizens are more likely to engage, for example, students, if they have someone that looks like them or represents their values.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we're going to go to Ms. Winchester.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of my comments have already been said. I think we definitely need to open up the commission meetings back to public comment without time limits. I've been on the other side of that 3 minutes, and you just cannot say what you need to say in 3 minutes. Also, the diversity on our boards and committees, we need to make sure that we have that and know that people feel that they can be on those boards. And then I think maybe we should start a program with the students and the kids in school and actually bring them to the council meetings and let them see the process and see how that works.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Henderson.
Thank you. I think I've been talking about inclusion for quite a while. I've been talking about including folk, and here's how I like to do it. I think on occasion, I know you can't do it every commission meeting, but on occasion, bring the commission meetings out of City Hall, take them to local churches and local businesses on a plane where people can feel comfortable. People sometimes are intimidated to go to City Hall. Explain the issue in layman's term, and then here's the key, and then ask the people what they want. What do they think will be the best course of action? It's about including and giving everybody an opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Montesmar, you're up.
I really enjoy everybody's input on this subject. It is amazing. Thank you, Sandra, yours, Ronaldo, awesome. I agree, it's inclusion and letting the people know that they are invited, whether it is the City Hall or a church or wherever, to let them know you're invited. Please, we're asking you, come in and vote. Always, the first thing is vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Thank you.
So much. Mr. Shine, you're next.
Well, thank you. As the city commissioner, what I would do is every quarter, just have a town hall in different parts of the city. And that way, again, we have the citizens that will come out to express their thoughts. And so we can just talk about what the direction of the city is. And also if there's certain issues that they're concerned about, we can discuss those as well. But we want to move the meetings to different parts of the town. So that's what I would do. Individual meetings, again, the other commissioners, they want to join me, they can, but definitely once a quarter, you can bank on it, me having a open forum and town hall meeting throughout the town.
Okay, thank you so much.
We lost you.
We can't hear you, Shamari.
Okay,
No.
Sorry about that. So we're about 12 minutes until the conclusion of this event. So we're going to take one or even two audience questions, probably only one. This will be a random one that I choose from here, and everyone can answer. Okay, the question is from Eric Romanov. With Paducah being an aging town, how do you plan to attract young families who believe quality of life is a priority for choosing where they locate? And we will start with Ms. Winchester this time.
Yeah.
They said I can open it to anyone, so if you unmute your mic, you can go ahead and speak. It looks like Ms. Winchester's mic is already open.
Well, this has been a challenge that we've been trying to do, and I think part of that is the things that we have that we offer, the restaurants having this distinctive area. Education. I think we have to look at educational opportunities. Our schools, we have a great school system, for families. I think what I see a lot of is the kids leave, they go to college, but then when they hit that, late 20s, 30s, they want to come back and build their family. They're coming back to Paducah and raising their families here because we are a great city to raise families. But I think jobs is a big part of that.
So much. And whoever's next.
I'll be happy to go next. I think one thing that we have learned during COVID-19 is that people can work remotely. And so more professionals can move to Paducah and work remotely if they need to with another company and have the great quality of life that we have here. But we have to have attractive amenities that will want young professionals to live in this area. We also have to have a strong network. And we do have that in many different organizations, including our local young professionals organization. So all of it working together will help to bring more people here.
Thank you. Next.
Lakila here. So I have a simple solution. How about we bring the young professionals and millennials to the table? If you look at the representation of our current leadership, if you truly want to attract the young professionals or retain, we have to have them at the table. And then that way you can come up with a game plan, and all the other ideas are great as far as job opportunities, but we have to be at the table.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, can I go? Okay, I absolutely agree with what Ms. Badeau has said. I think that if you want young people, if you want a different group of people, you've got to start bringing those people to the table, talking to them, asking what it is that we need to do in order to get to the desired end. And the truth of the matter is, the opportunities right now in Paducah are not the same for everybody. So people have to know that I'm going to bring my pet family and I am going to survive in Paducah and not have to go somewhere else to make it happen.
All right, anyone can take the floor.
Yes, this is Robert Shy. Sounds pretty crazy, but instead of just always trying to get new young people to move to Paducah, how about let's just do a good job of keeping the ones that we have here, right? Because even when people just take WPSD, right? A lot of folks come through, a year or so, you all are gone. But the people who grew up here, the people who live here, let's create opportunities for them to stay. And we can do that with jobs, activities, and things like that.
Okay, thank you so much. And whoever's next, you can go on, Ingo.
I'll speak. I think what Paducah needs is to be more family friendly. And of course, I put a lot of stock in churches for that. I would like to see us help to keep families together, marriages strong, and children with respect for the parents, and teaching biblical values, and to bring the Holy Spirit into this. That's the most powerful force in the universe. It's the resurrection power of Jesus Christ. And if we can keep the families together, keep families thriving, I think we'll hold on to our kids and build a stronger community.
Okay, thank you so much. We have one last person, I think. It's Montezmar.
Thank you. So far, in my world and a business world, everybody's got fantastic ideas here. We need the parks, we need recreation, we need to incentivize, get people to get here. But everybody seems to be putting the horse behind the carriage, or however they want to say it. The first thing we need is good plant jobs. If we have good jobs here, they will bring the families. We will have the infrastructure and the money to build these parks, build the recreation centers. They're missing step one and trying to go straight to 2, 5, 7. Step one, the root of what can build this city, is go back to the manufacturing we had in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Right. Get that business coming here, and everything else will fall in place like it used to. It's not magic.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We have about 5 minutes left. Corbin, are you going to do the debate style, or are we just going to wrap it up with? Okay, I think we're going to wrap it on up, but we have some closing statements for a couple of people For those of you who are watching right now, before we close out, I'm going to have Mr. Hetty actually close us out as a representation of the Paducah McCracken County NAACP. But before that, I wanted to let you know, I know everyone kept saying we didn't have enough time. Well, here's an opportunity to know when you'll have enough time. Throughout the next couple of weeks, TTTE Media Group Masterful Minds podcast will be hosting the candidates that are here and their platforms and speaking to them more, inviting them to speak on a more one-on-one level, and it'll be the same kind of format with just you and someone else, so that you have more of an opportunity to talk more in depth about your things. And a reminder for everyone to get out and actually vote. Register to vote. You can do so online. You can call the local McCracken County Courthouse to do so. The best place to do it is online. Also, a couple of Black-owned businesses here are also having voter registration drives. If you need any help, I can imagine that any candidate that you're wanting to vote for will help you try to get registered. And shameless plug, our station does have a voter's guide on the website to show you where, when, and how to vote and at what time. Right now, it's closing out for you to be able to vote for the primaries, but general election is coming up. So please encourage everyone to vote. And with that, I am going to give it to my favorite person in the world, Mr. Hetty. And he is going to close it out. He's going to close us out in prayer. Is that correct?
As well as the statement.
As well as a statement from the NAACP is also going to come. I think his mic is muted. If you can unmute his mic for him, we'll have him close us out in prayer.
So,
you guys ready for me now?
Yes, we are.
All right. Okay, the NAACP, we want to thank you, Ms. Morrison. We also want to thank our sponsors, the WKCTC. We want to thank the TTTE Media Group and the Master's Minds podcast for putting this on. We also want to thank each candidate for taking time and coming out and being with us today. And NAACP wants to say thank you on behalf of our president, J.W. Cleary. Thank you.
You to become members of the NAACP. We would be remiss if we did not offer you that opportunity. You can become a member of the NAACP by going to naacp.org. That's naacp.org. Membership is only $30 annually, or you can choose to become a life member for a lump sum of $750, or that can be done over in installments of $75 for 10 years. But be well aware that we are the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization, and we'd be so happy to have you as a member. So thank you again to everybody that tuned in tonight for us. Pastor Eddie, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to have closing prayer from you. I'm also hearing from support. I wanted to mention something else about voting before I turn it over to Pastor Eddie real quick. One of those things is your voting locations in McCracken County. The only voting precinct that is open is the McCracken County Courthouse. You can vote in person at the McCracken County Courthouse right now during their regular business hours, Monday through Friday, and they will be open extended hours on the June 23rd primary from 6 to 6. You can also choose to vote absentee by going to www.govoteky.com, where you can request an absentee ballot, but you must do so before June 15th. So no matter how you choose to vote, please get out and vote. Sorry, Pastor Eddie, I didn't mean to take too much of your time, but if you'll close us out.
Let us bow. Father God, we thank you once again for this day, and we thank you for these people that have come and put the things on what to do and to help this city and to help us as a whole. And Father, we pray that you continue to lead us and lead our cities and lead our people, oh Lord God, and that we can be one. And Father, we pray that you just continue to walk with us each and every day. Father, we ask these bless your son named Jesus, and in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.